Welcome to the Joy of Editing. On today's episode, we're making this waterfall image. We're using Lightroom, Photoshop, Topaz plugins, Luminar 4. We're going to be doing a lot of different things today, so I think you're going to enjoy this one. It's a little bit long, but I show you everything that I do to get this image to this final result. So let's get started. We're starting out here in Lightroom. Now, I shot this on a Canon 5D Mark II. I shot it at ISO 50, so I could get this effect in the water here. It was a 2-second exposure, shot at f16, so I wanted to show the motion in the water, and that's why I did that, and I like that look. The first thing I want to do is come down here to transform, because this looks a little bit like it's not quite straight, and so I'm going to click the level here, and that just levels it up, and I think that looks better, so I'm going to start out there. By the way, I tried something. I did the lens corrections first, and then I went to the transform, and the transform didn't look right. So I would say it's good to start off by, if you want to try auto levels and things like that, do that before you apply the profile, lens correction profiles. Okay, so now I'm going to remove the chromatic aberrations and enable the lens profile corrections, and it probably had something to do with the lens profile corrections, I'm thinking, that caused Lightroom to get the transform wrong. So we'll just keep that in the back of our minds. Let's come up here to basic. Let's try auto and see what we get. Okay, I don't really like the look of the image. I think it looks really overexposed. And it took me up almost a full stop. So let's take the exposure and pull it back a little bit here. Getting it looking half decent. That looks not too bad right there. Now it pulled my highlights back. It opened up my shadows a little bit. What if we open our shadows up a little bit more? No, I think it looked pretty good. Let's leave it right about where it was. I think the white point looks good. Contrast is not bad. Let's see if we can add a little bit of dehaze. It was a rainy day when I took this, so there's probably a little bit of haze in the atmosphere. Yeah, so look, a little bit of dehaze in here is really helping out. Now, with that dehaze, I might decide to open up these shadows a little bit more. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And the dehaze added a lot of nice contrast. Let's take a look at our temperature here and see. It's pretty warm. See what happens if we cool it back a little bit. I don't like blue water. See right there, the water looks a little blue. I'm just going to back it off till the water looks relatively white. And I'm thinking right about there. And our greens are looking really good. This was in the early spring. There's a little bit of evergreen trees here. Nothing was happening yet on the leaves of the trees. Let's just pull our greens to our tint to the left a little bit and see what happens now. I think it was pretty good, actually, the way it was pretty close to where it should have been. That's a little too green. Maybe right around there. I think that looks pretty good. If you type your backslash key, you can see the before and the after. So I think that's a good starting point. And let's look at our detail. I have the default sharpening for Lightroom at 25. I'm not adding any noise reduction, and quite frankly, I don't really need noise reduction because this was shot at ISO 50. So let's just right-click this and edit this in Photoshop. And now Photoshop will be launching here in a second, and now we're in Photoshop. Let's start out by duplicating our background there. That's Command or Control J. I just want to get this sharpened up a little bit because, as you remember, I just used the 25% default capture sharpening from Lightroom. So let's give it a little extra sharpening. There's not much noise in this image, so I'm going to go to Topaz Labs and Sharpen AI. And then we're just going to let that give us a little bit of extra sharpening in this image here. This software is very AI intensive, so it takes a little bit of time here. It's pretty quick, but hey, when you're waiting for something, it seems like it takes forever. But we'll just be patient here. Let's click on this split right here so we can wipe this across here and see the before and after. So check the rocks out. So here's the before and here's the after, and that's looking pretty good. What if we bump up the remove blur a little bit more? Let's just see if we can sharpen a little bit more here. I don't think I'm going to bother with the other two modes here because it was on a tripod when I shot it, so it was relatively stable. Not saying I have the greatest tripod in the world, but I could have tried stabilize and focus. But in my case, I don't really believe I need to. But yeah, look at the sharpness there. And it doesn't pull any noise into the image. And again, it was shot at ISO 50, so it was really good. So let's go ahead and apply this. And now we're back in Photoshop. So let's click this eyeball here. So here's the before, and here's the after. Let me go ahead and zoom in here so you can really see it here. So here is the before, and there's the after. So beautiful job of sharpening up this image with Sharpen AI from Topaz. Let's look the image over here and see if there's anything we want to remove, like this stick right here, or piece of a branch here. Looks like there was something in the foreground here that was out of focus. This branch here. So I think I want to get rid of this and get rid of this branch. Let's put a blank layer above here by clicking that icon right there. Let's get our healing brush, J. Make sure it is set to sample all layers. And adjust the size of it. And let's just paint across this stick here. See what it can do with that. And as you know, I love the healing brush. I think it does a wonderful job. Here's a little stick here. I don't need it. And this stick here, it doesn't help the image any. So if it doesn't help, let's get rid of it. That's my philosophy. Anything that's messing up the image, let's take it out. Let's use the tools that we have. Now this right here, I might need to use content aware fill for this right here. So we'll work on that next. I'm happy with the stick removal. So let's just merge this layer 2 down into layer 1. Just right click here and come to merge down. And that pulls those two layers together. Now on to the content aware fill. Okay, we're going to try the content aware fill, see what it does. I'm not 100% sure it's going to work or not, but we'll try it. So we'll get a lasso tools, type L. Let's draw a selection around this area right in here. Like so. And come up to edit and come down to content aware fill, and it'll launch the content aware fill interface. It's in auto right now, so it's doing its own little thing here. And I think that looks pretty good actually, right the way it is. So I'm kind of happy with that. And let's see what happens if we play with our color adaptation. Let's put it to none. Nope, that doesn't look good. This was default. And let's try high. Yeah, high's okay, but I think default looked better. And let's try the rotation adaptation. These things you just got to really try to see if they help. And this gives me a message here. Using scale mirror or rotation adaptation with auto sampling may cause unexpected results. Do you want to proceed? Yeah, let's try it and see what it does. Yeah, it doesn't look that good. So let's put it back to none, and I think default. And let's output this to a new layer. Makes sense. Click OK. Now Command D, and let's just really take a look at it. Let's shut this eyeball off so we can see the before. There's the before, and here's the after. So the before and the after. It's looking pretty good, but right in here looks a little bit funky. So let's put a blank layer above it. Let's try the healing brush. So we'll type J for the healing brush, and let's just paint right here. And I have sample all layers set, and maybe right around in here. Right here. A couple times. That looks pretty good, and right here looks a little funny. That could be a rock right there that it's coming over. Hit it a couple times. I think that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and merge these layers, layer 2 down to layer 1. So layer 2 is selected. Hold the shift key, click on layer 1, and right click and say merge layers. So let's compare this with the before and after by clicking this eyeball. So here's the before and here's the after. Before and after. I think that's believable. Maybe right up in here looks a little funky. And it's good to be critical. So let's put a blank layer here. And right here, I'm just going to paint a little bit. A couple times. Like I said, this healing brush works wonders. So just to break up that little straight line in there, there's a little something in there, there's a little something there, a little something right there. And I think that looks good. So let's just right click on layer 3 and merge that layer down. So that was tricky, but I think we got it in the end. Call me a nitpick, but right here just looks a little weird to me. So let's put another blank layer here, use the healing brush, and let's just give this a little tap. I'm getting quiet. I'm really thinking. There. I think that looks better. I'm happy with that. Let me click this layer 3 off, before and after. Before and after. I just think that looks better. I'm happy with that. Right click it and merge down. I think we can give this image a little more pop, and I think we can use Luminar 4 to do that. So let's use that. So let's pull this all together by doing Shift Option Command or Control E, or I'm just going to click my little action right here, my TK action, and let's go ahead and come to Filter and launch Skylum Luminar 4 here. And I think we'll use some Accent AI, and we'll also use some Smart Contrast. Okay, and I think we're going to start out with some Smart Contrast just to boost up the contrast level a little bit, you know, somewhere right around in there. And then I think Accent AI will kind of do some magical things to this, hopefully. So let's go to AI Enhance and pick Accent or AI Accent. Sorry for saying that wrong. And let's just not use too much. We can go crazy with this, but let's just use a little bit in here. Let's click this icon so we can see a split screen here. So on the right is the after, on the left is the before. So as you can see, it does add a little extra pop and sparkle to the image. And what if we were to add a little bit of AI structure while we're at it? Let's see what that does. Yeah, I like a little. You don't want to go crazy with this stuff. But this AI structure works really nice to target just the areas that should probably be targeted very intelligently. So there's the before and there's the after. I may have went a little too strong on that, so let me just pull that back just a little bit. Okay, so there's the before and there's the after. Yeah, I think we got a lot more pop in this image right now. So let's go ahead and apply that. And that'll bring us right back into Photoshop. After examining this image a little bit, I think the highlights are just a little bit hot on here, and I'd just like to pull those back just slightly. I'm going to use a luminosity mask to do it. So I'm going to the TK7 Rapid Mask panel. And let's go to our light tones here, and let's go through them and target these really light lights in here. I'm going to go, that's not bad, but let's go to a 3. I think that gets the really hot highlights. Everything in black will not be selected. Only the areas in white will be selected. And I think that's a good selection. So let's go ahead and come to this icon here and put that on a curves adjustment layer. And all I want to do here is I can either pull down on this curve, but I'm just going to change the blend mode to multiply, and that'll really do the trick. So let's click this eyeball here. So here's the before and here's the after. See how it's only targeting those highlighted areas there? And I think that looks really good. And if you think that's a little too strong, we can take this opacity and pull it back a little bit to let a little more of those highlights show through. And I'm thinking maybe I want a good bit of that on there. I'm thinking right around 90. So again, let's click this curves one layer here. Here's before and here's after. And I liked how it toned these highlights in here down a little bit and right here. And I think this really balances the image out, and I'm happy with that. After looking at this image a little bit, I noticed this is a little bit hot here, and it's taking some of the emphasis off the waterfall here. So I want to use a graduated filter to darken this up a bit. And a good way to do that is to use the Camera Raw filter's graduated filter. All right. So to do that, let's pull this all together. Shift, Option, Command, Control E. Command or Control E, I should say. Or I could use my action right here. And then let's come up to Filter and go to the Camera Raw filter. And let's click on the graduated filter, which is right here. And if we click the negative here on exposure, it resets everything back, but it pulls this back to like a -5, or that's like a half a stop, which isn't bad to start with. Now let's hold the shift key down so we can keep this line coming up here straight. So we're just going to click and drag up. Let's just drag up into here, and then we can adjust this graduation zone in here. I'm going to keep holding my shift key down, something like around in here. Just, whoops, I let go of the shift key. Don't leave go of the shift key till you let up on the click of your mouse, okay? And if you don't want to see these bars across here, just click overlay and they'll go away. And then we can come here and play with the exposure some more if we need to bring it down a little bit. And I'm thinking maybe right around in there. And if I don't want to lose all my highlights, I can take my highlights and just open those up a little bit, right? Something like that. Now I think I want to also add another graduated filter just to close off the bottom of the image here, just to draw you right up into the waterfall. So hold your shift key down and click and drag right here. My overlay is shut off, so you're just seeing the actual graduation there, and something like that. See how that just closes it off and just draws your eye right up in, and then just click OK, and that'll bring us back into Photoshop. Now if you went too far here, just take your opacity and start to drag it back. Let's take it the whole way off and then slowly build it up to where it looks nice, to where we're getting a nice flow back through there. And I'm thinking somewhere right around 79%. So here's the before and here's the after. And I think that's a great addition to this image here. Let's see if we can add a little more detail to some of these rocks in the foreground here. To do that, I'm going to use Topaz Studio 2. So let's pull all these layers together. Shift, Option, Command, or Control E. And come up to Filter, and we'll launch Topaz Studio 2. And we'll use the Precision Detail filter. So we'll come to Add Filter, Precision Detail. Let's zoom in to some of these rocks here in the foreground. We'll look at all these rocks. Let's pull up the small detail. And we'll pull it up a decent amount because I'm going to mask this in. Something like that. Maybe even pull the boost up a little bit, just to really bring out some detail. And maybe the medium detail. Yeah, just a little bit of medium detail. Let's click on the canvas. There's the before and there's the after. Now it looks horrible on the rocks, but let's just accept that and say, we are so happy with that. All right, so now let's zoom into the image here. And this is a little bug in Topaz Studio 2 right now. You see nothing has happened here. But if you click this eyeball off and then turn it back on, then you'll see it. That's an issue that Topaz are working on. So you'll probably have that. I'm on a Mac. I don't know if they have that problem on a PC, but we definitely do on a Mac. And they are working on it. And they will resolve it because they're really good about those things. Okay. So now what we're going to do is put a black hide all layer mask in here. So Option click the layer mask right here. And let's zoom back out. But we can see what kind of details we're going to get. And now let's go to a brush tool, B for brush, and I want a nice soft brush, so my hardness is at 0. Get the brush to the right size, and I'm going to go with about a 30%, and I'm just going to paint on some of these rocks in the foreground here. I just want to pull out a little bit of detail on them. I think that'll be nice. Even on this tree here. These are the little things that can really make an image. Now keep it off the water, and you can resize your brush as you go here. And maybe on some of these rocks over in here. Mainly on the rocks that are closer to us. As we go further into the background, I don't want as much. But I might hit these again, because again, I'm at 30%, so every time I go over them, I get another 30%. So right around in there. And look, this rock right up in here. Don't want to let him feel left out. So let's hit him a couple times, maybe even some of these rocks here. This rock right here, and again, let's keep it off the water. Miss these guys right in here, maybe some of this stuff in here. Maybe that rock needs a little bit. This rock, let's give him 30%. Let's give this tree, these trees a little bit of detail. Let's option click our layer mask and we can see what we painted. All right, so now let's click this eyeball. Here's the before and here's the after. So I like that. It just draws a little bit more detail to those rocks, and I'm happy with that. The next thing I want to work on, this area right in here seems a little bit light, and it unbalances the image. See, because right over here I like the tone here of the image. I like this light coming through here, but this over here, my eye is being drawn here, and I want the eye to go to the waterfall, so we're going to tone this down a little bit. So let's get a curves adjustment layer. So come down to the adjustment layers here, the icon, and let's click on curves. And let's just try putting this in a multiply blend mode. And let's invert this mask, Command or Control I to hide it. Let's get our brush and put it, B for brush, get a fairly large brush here. And I'm at 30% right now. And let's leave it at 30%, and let's just paint over this area with, make sure you're on white paint, like so. And now let's put it down to 10%. Darken the edge a little more, come in here a little bit. Okay. So let's click on this layer, curves 2 layer, the eyeball. Here's the before and after. So see how that pulls you right into the waterfall. So that really helps. So let's pull the opacity back the whole way, and then just build it up slowly till it looks balanced with the right side. And I'm thinking maybe right about there looks pretty good. So here's the before and here's the after. But that's an easy fix. A little multiply layer works out nice. And we are just about done. Okay. Let's add a vignette to this image. First thing you want to do is type L to get a lasso tool, and I'm going to show you a really cool way to make vignettes. And once you see how I do this, I guarantee you are going to adapt this to your own workflow because you're going to love it. It lets you make the vignette just the way you want it. So with the lasso tool, we're just going to draw a loose organic shape any place we want around our image here. And you can keep it loose and flowing around. Okay, something like that. Then what you want to do is you want to come and get a curves adjustment layer. So come down here and click on the adjustment layer icons and come and click on curves, and that will draw you a layer mask. It's the opposite of what you want. So you want to type Command or Control I to invert it. You want to change the blend mode from normal to multiply, and you need to put a blur on here. Okay, and the other thing you need to do is take this opacity back to about 50%. It's a good place to start. I have a Tony Kuiper action to do this, which is really nice. So I really highly recommend that Tony Kuiper TK7 Rapid Mask. It comes with all the actions and everything. So anyway, what you need to do next is come here, see where it says curves here, click on this mask icon right here, and take your feathering, and you want to bump your feathering up to about somewhere around like, 360, somewhere in that area there. And you can see the feathering, see it as you go. And just adjust it to where it looks good for you. Now, all cameras are going to be different resolution, so you pretty much got to eyeball this, but something like that. But look at that vignette. Isn't that amazing? Now, let's click this eyeball. Here's before and here's after. And that is really nice. And now you can take this opacity, pull it the whole way off, and then just build it up slowly. I do this all the time, as you know, and get it to where it looks just about perfect for you. And if you wanted it darker in other areas, you can come to this layer mask and just paint. Like say if I wanted a little more darkening here, I could come and click on this layer mask, go B for brush, make my brush a little bit smaller, and let's put my paint up to about 30% and just make sure I'm painting with white paint. See, and I can come in here and I can tweak it up a little bit, something like that. And that looks really nice. Okay, so let's option click this layer mask so you can see what I've done. See, I painted a little bit more in there. Really cool. So you can come and alter this and change things just by painting on that layer mask. So here's before the vignette and here's after the vignette. I think a really nice addition. I know this video is getting a little bit long, but to really finish this off, I would like to do a little dodging and burning, and that's very important when you're done with your image. With all the edits, give it a little dodging and burning, and it will really make it sing. Okay, I'm going to introduce you to the Tony Kuiper dodging and burning actions, which are right here. Here's dodge and here's burn. Now when I click it, all it does is it gives you a blank layer in the overlay blend mode, and it gives you white paint. And I'm going to keep my paint relatively low, about 20%, and I'm going to do some dodging first. And just look for light areas of your image and just kind of lighten them up. Like up in these trees here a little bit. Let a little bit of light sing through there. Maybe on some of these rocks, give them a little kiss of light. And here, even in your water here, you can get little hits of light. Be careful, you don't want to go crazy here. If it's too strong, pull back in your opacity. Okay, and that's already pretty light there, so I'm not going to touch it, but maybe back in here, give this rock a little kiss of light. Maybe throw a little light across here. Maybe throw a little light over here. Just look for areas of interest that might help. If you don't like it, you can just paint back over it with black paint or erase it. Either way, it'll work. Let's throw a little bit of light coming off of here. Just add some excitement to your image. Let's hit some of these trees up in here. Throw some light in there. Maybe a little light coming through the forest back in here. Okay. And maybe make my brush a little smaller. There's some light on this tree here. Throw some light on there. Looks nice. Let's click on this dodge layer, the eyeball. There's the before and there's the after. Maybe right in here. A little bit on this water coming through here. Just little areas of interest, like some of these streaks of water coming down. Maybe even on the waterfall here. Just throw a little bit here and there. Now take your time. I'm rushing this, to be honest with you. I would take a lot of time and really, really play with this and just get it looking really sweet. See how that looks? Now let's click this eyeball again, before and after. So that's really nice. And if you went too far, just again, take your opacity off and just build it up slowly and just get the right amount of light in there. And let's click this eyeball again. Here's the before and here's the after. I think that looks really good. And then go and get a burn action here. So click right here. Gives you another blank layer. Gives you black paint. And it puts it in soft light blend mode. And now I'm still at 20%. So let's look for darker areas. And let's just darken some areas up, like in this waterfall here. And again, take your time. I am rushing this. So any shadow areas here. And this helps contour the image a little bit, like maybe darken these shadows up a little bit in here, but you get the idea, right? And maybe in here, add a little darkness in here. Come and get some of these shadow areas in here, back in here, under this rock right here where these shadows are falling. Under that rock a little stronger. And I'm not going to waste too much time here, but you see what I'm doing here. Again, take your time, spend the time, have fun, put some music on, play, and just really work on your image. Dodging and burning is amazing, and just that little bit I've done, I think looks really awesome. So here's the before and here's the after. But see how that just really contours it and adds some nice zing and pop to your image. Again, I'm going to take this opacity, pull it back, and just build it up slowly, maybe around 80%. I'll put these two layers in a group. So the burn layer is selected, hold the shift key, click the dodge layer, right click and group from layers. And let's just call this dodge and burn. It's always good to name your layers. Dodge and burn. Click OK. Dodging and burning is so important. You should do it to every image. I highly recommend it. So let's click on the dodge and burn layer. So there's before and there's after. So I think that's a really welcome addition to this image, and I think we're all done. Well, that's a wrap. I hope you stuck with me the whole way through. If you did, I'm sure you'll be rewarded for it because you've learned a lot of things along the way. If you liked this video today, please like and share it with your friends. And also, if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and click the bell notification icon. This way, every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified about it. Well, thank you very much for joining me today on The Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly, and I'll see each and every one of you right here next time. But until then, happy editing.